You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxboro faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. Also, hopefully your first listen each and every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots is a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So download, subscribe, or follow wherever you get your podcasts to ensure that you get the latest episode as soon as it's available. I'm your host, Mike DeBate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. So reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on the Bird app, on X, whatever you want to call it, at MDABATE NFL. While you're out there showing some social media love to Locked On Patriots, please follow our account there as well at LO_Patriots. And folks, today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And Pats fans, thank you for hanging in there with us, especially all of you everydayers. Some technological snafus prevented us from being able to bring you the mailbag on Monday, but it's Tuesday and we're bringing it to you as soon as we possibly could. And of course, who else would help me open up the Monday mailbag here on Locked On Patriots on a Tuesday morning than our good friend, the legendary Thomas Murphy of E2G Sports. Thank you for coming to me in friendship, and thank you for your loyalty in the face of adversity, Don Murph.
You're welcome, Mikey. You're welcome. I'm stoked, man. Let's get into it.
Absolutely. We had an amazing mailbag this week, folks. All of you everydayers truly overwhelm us each and every day with all of your interactions, your feedback, and especially when you get the opportunity to showcase your wisdom, counsel, and insight. It's always a lot of fun. Murph and I had a real tough time weeding through some of the great questions that you all have for us here on Locked On Patriots. Murph, let's start right off the bat with the subject that I think everybody is talking about. The New England Patriots, unfortunately, are now officially eliminated from postseason play. The Cincinnati Bengals win on Sunday made that official. So now the Patriots are in a unique situation, a position they haven't been in quite some time. They're eliminated from playoff contention with 4 games still to play on this schedule. Now, there are 2 arguments here, Murph. You either continue to play for pride or you punt, you look at next season, and you say, you know what, each and every loss brings us closer to that draft day gem that all of the fan base seems to want. That's the question on everybody's mind here, and it is the first question we're going to tackle. And I take this from a guy that comes from a great hometown, by the way, folks. An amazing hometown. You'll never find a hometown like this anywhere in the United States. That's because it's my hometown, folks. Yep. Our good friend Bill from Johnston, Rhode Island. A big shout out at the tip of the cap to Johnston, Rhode Island. But Bill asked a great question, Murph, and he says, now that the Patriots are officially eliminated from playoff contention, will they continue to compete, or is Tankathon 2023 about to begin? What do you say, Don Murph, on this? What should the Patriots be playing for?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say bang on question. Great question. Fantastic. At least 6 people entered this question, but it's surprising that the guy from Johnston, Rhode Island gets his name on TV.
Yeah, it might have been a little stuff out of the ballot box.
A little bit. I'll tell you, these guys are going out there and they're playing for pride. They're playing for the guy that's lining up next to them. They're playing for the guy that's sharing a locker room with. They're playing for their next contract. Okay? That's what they're doing. There's no way in hell that you can tell professional athletes to go out there and do it at half speed. You can't do it. The only people that have been able to do it and do it on a regular basis are the guys down there in Indianapolis. I don't know how they get away with it and getting these people. I don't know. We'll pay a lot. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But no, these guys are going out there to win every single Sunday. And if it's for no other reason than to go home and sit on your couch and smile the way I did on Thursday night after that game, that's enough. Just to be in a good mood around your family. How about that? Not to go
Mm,
home and just sit there because you coughed up another ball or something else went off your fingertips. No, just to feel good about yourself as a ball player and as a human being. There's no way. There's no Tankapalooza happening with these ball players. I'm telling you right now, the coaching staff feels the same way. They're not going. They're not going in looking for extra meetings time before the next game, which is what happens. Bill, you throw out a loss and Bill's going to have you in there at 10 o'clock at night. You're not going to get out till 2 o'clock in the morning, and then you're going to have to be back at 5:30. So no, everybody's out there giving it 100%, and they're going to keep doing it until that last whistle blows.
mm. Absolutely, folks. And I completely agree with Murph. Look, bottom line, bud, when you look at this team and you look at the way they're constituted and the amount of veterans that still remain on this
Yeah.
club, there's a lot of pride in that locker room. Take a look at the embrace of David Andrews and Matthew Slater after Thursday night's victory. We
Yep.
talked about this on Friday. That is a moment that two captains that have been with this team in the good times and in the bad
Yep.
definitely value, and they needed that win. The two of them needed that win desperately, not just for themselves and for their own psyche, but to build for the future. And again, we've mentioned this before. Not everyone is being cleared out of that locker
No.
room at the end of the year, folks. The Patriots aren't wiping the slate clean of the coaches, 53-man roster, starting completely over. A lot of young talent is going to be here next year. And they're going to be here beyond next year, and they need to learn the value of winning, especially when it comes to winning in the face of adversity, fighting to win, showing determination. That's what builds character. That's
Hmm.
what eventually takes a team like the Patriots right now, where you have budding talent, you have the ability to play with anyone, but you just don't have the horses at this point to bring it all together and to make it consistent. That's more important to the future of a franchise, at least in my opinion, than tanking to win draft night. And that's exactly what you would be doing. And look, to me, losing for the sake of an unknown commodity is a very risky proposition. I know a lot of fans buy into it, but that's what a draft pick is, folks. You can't deny that. It's an unknown commodity. There's no guarantee that Caleb
No.
Williams or Drake
No.
May or Jaden Daniels or Marvin Harrison Jr., for those of you guys that want the big wide
Right.
receiver, if you don't have a skilled quarterback throwing this guy a pass and you don't have an offensive line protecting, getting the quarterback that time that he needs to build a synergy with the wide receiver, it becomes the old Lamborghini in the scrap heap. It's
That's it.
not going to matter, folks. And unfortunately, I think so many of us fall in love with that first, second, third draft pick
Yeah.
that we fail to see the forest from the trees.
No, if we end up with a first, second, third round draft pick, I'm trading down. I'm getting
Mm,
I'm getting the offensive lineman, guys. That's
mm,
that's that's how you, if you know me and you know this show, this is my Khrushchev moment, banging my shoe
mm,
on the table. All right, you build an offense from the inside out. All right, last year Bill went out and got some nice young guards over the past couple of seasons, and I don't care if you don't like Cole Strange or not. I think he's a good young guard.
mm,
Um, they need the tackles.
mm,
Okay, trade back, get as many picks as you can in the top 60, and build the team that way. There are free agents that are going to be available that are going to be able to come in here that a young quarterback's going to have to understudy with. I don't think there's anybody out there that you want to throw into this meat grinder next year without a line in front of them. Now, I could be wrong. Bill could go out and throw bags of money at um young free agent or old free agent tackles. I'm not sure off the top of my head who's has a contract yet for next year, who's going to be franchised or not. But I would franchise Michael Waynu. And
mm.
if you
As
can't
would
get
I.
something long term done. But no, this is how you can't just drop somebody into this meat grinder. If you go out
Mm.
there and you select a quarterback in the first round next year, you're going to end up having the same conversation in December next season.
Yeah, very good point. Very, very good point. And I'm glad you mentioned Bill, and I'm glad you mentioned the fact that he's planning for the future, because that does lead me nicely into a point that I think needs to be made here. And that is, are the Patriots playing for the fate of Bill Belichick? Now, a lot of Patriots players in that locker room have come out in vocal support
Right.
very loud vocal support of Bill Belichick. Guys like Jelani Tavai, Matthew Slater, we had the opportunity to speak with on Monday afternoon via video conference. Matthew was very matter of fact in his support and his belief that Bill Belichick should be the coach here, that he is not someone that's ever going to forget the impact and the contributions that he's made to this organization. Former Patriots like Tom Brady, Rob
Right.
Gronkowski have done nothing but praise Bill Belichick and the job that he's done here for a number of years. But there are a lot of reports out there that say that the Crafts may have even already made up their mind. A report that came out from a guy that you and I trust implicitly, a good mutual friend of ours, Tommy Curran of NBC Sports Boston, saying that decision was made after the Patriots dropped the 10-6 game in Frankfurt, Germany. So there are a lot of different conflicting reports out there, Murph. If the Patriots play strong here, do you believe his job is saved at that point?
I do. I would like to think it. As it was said much more eloquently by Matthew on that conference call yesterday, um, what Bill has done here has never been done before.
Hmm.
You didn't hear this at the end with Shula. You didn't hear you heard from former players how great he was, but you didn't hear it at the end from current players. You didn't hear it from when Tom Landry was escorted and shown the door. It I've said time and again that in no other franchise have you seen the exodus of talent, not only on the field, but coaching and front office people that the Patriots have gone through and had to live through in the last 5 years. Okay. Be it retirement, be it trade, be it uh, guys leaving through free agency to go get paid somewhere else. Right down to Tom Brady, um, you know, walking out the door. Do you folks remember the mess that it was that year? Okay. Do you remember everything that was going on before the first snap was made? It was just time. It was time for these two to split up. And I'm telling you, if Tom had stayed here, he wouldn't have gotten his seventh Super Bowl ring the next season. He it just would not have happened. Not with the talent that was here.
Right.
And but no, I do not see a better head coach. You can talk about draft whiffs and this and that. It's aggravating. I don't know a man on the planet that knows more about coaching football than Bill Belichick. And you can go back and ask every player that has ever suited up for him, and they will answer in the same exact way.
So well said. And that's the point I think that everybody needs to keep in mind, folks. It's not an argument one way or another. It's just a valid point. And Murph, I think, articulated this perfectly. It's all well and good to say Bill Belichick's time in New England has come and gone. But who are you going to get to bring in that's going to be that guy, that's going to be a better fit for this organization, short term and long term? If you're sure that Bill Belichick has got to go, you have got to be even more sure that the guy you're bringing in is the right guy. Because mark my words, Bill Belichick leaves this organization at the end of this year, folks. He's going to go elsewhere and he's going to succeed. And he's going to look very good doing it. And you better be sure that the guy that's taking his spot here in New England is moving things forward. Because if there's a regression after that, then the fan base is really going to start to look at the ownership group. Because then there's nowhere else to go. You can't look at Tom Brady anymore. No. You can't look at Bill Belichick anymore. You have to say, well, the strings that are being pulled at the very top are no longer adequate. Then where do you go, folks? So it's a very tough decision for the Crafts to make. And I think it really feeds into what Pat McAfee had to say on Saturday. I don't necessarily agree with the way he did it, but it is an unenviable decision because you don't want to make the wrong one for your franchise and then look foolish while doing it. Again, folks, there's a lot of arguments to the positive, to the negative. I understand the frustration with Bill right now. I truly do.
I do.
But I think you also, but I think you also need to weigh out both sides because this is not a clear-cut decision as much as it's being pushed in the national and local narratives in a lot of sections of the media. This is not as easy of a decision as people are making it out to be.
No, it's really not. I mean, who is the next man up? All right. Now, if you want to come in here and tell me, Murph, I want you to be the de facto GM. What are you doing? I'm cleaning house at on the offensive side of the ball with coaching.
And again, folks, we'll see what happens in the offseason and how the Patriots progress down the line. But Bill, the tip of the cap, my friend, thank you so much for the excellent
Great
question. A lot to play for, folks. And one of those keys in terms of playing for the future, Murph, or at least the present, is the play of Bailey Zappe. We've seen the Patriots offense now come alive, maybe for the first time this season. But is it simply because Bailey is just Mr. Calm, cool, and collected? There's cool and then there's Zappe cool. Is that exactly what we're doing here? Or is it a little bit more rudimentary than that in terms of the players around him making things a little bit more palatable? Murph and I are going to delve into that question from another valued everydayer here on Locked On Patriots when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. Proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, we've all been there. You want tickets to the big game or your favorite musical artist, and you just can't find an easy and affordable way to do it? Well, you shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Gametime is the fast and the easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater and events near you. And Gametime's all-in prices show your total up front, so you know you're getting a great deal without any hidden fees. They're actually obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. And that includes zone deals, where you pick the section and Gametime picks the seats for an average of 18% savings. And the Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section or row for less, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots, spending part of your Tuesday. It is Mailbag Tuesday. I know the placard says Mailbag Monday. There's a few technical snafus, as I said, to open the show today. I like it. Telegram Tuesday. I like it. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to make it work. It is Mailbag Monday. It is Telegram Tuesday. It is hashtag Locked On Murph Palooza here. And, of course, joining me on Mailbag Day is my good friend, the kind of Murphy Fisto himself, the Don of Locked On Patriots, Thomas Murphy. Murph, in the previous segment, we talked a lot about what the Patriots still have to play for, including the potential of playing for the future of their head coach. But one of the things that we've seen over the course of the last couple of weeks has been the improvement in the offense. The offense looks like it finally has a little bit of swagger to it. Well, we weren't the only ones to notice this. Our good friend, one of our truly valued everydayers here, and quickly becoming one of our favorite listeners, Leslie, the Cape Cod girlie, talks about Bailey Zappe's calm, cool, collected demeanor. Is it the game changer this week for the Kansas City Chiefs? And to be fair, in the way that she asked the question, folks, because we only have limited characters to display it, Leslie did mention the offensive line. She did mention a little bit of a facilitated game plan for Bailey Zappe. So do you believe, Murph, that it's Zappe's demeanor that has been the catalyst? Or do you believe it's because of improvements with the line and the skill positions that Bailey Zappe is able to feel calm, cool, and collected out there?
It's amazing how you can feel calm, cool, and collected when you have more than 1.4 seconds to throw a ball. Okay, it's amazing that when you get that ball out of your hands, that the receivers are actually running the right routes. It's amazing how calm, cool, and collected you can be. That when you throw those balls, the guys who you're hitting right in the hands actually grasp the football and bring it in and bring it down, and how well that makes a quarterback look. Okay, it's a collective. As I've said before, Bailey Zappe does not lack for confidence in anything. You could ask him to go out there and lace him up and do a triple axel on a skating rink, and Bailey's going to think that he can do it. Trust me, there is Bailey Zappe is not the answer here. It is a collective. It is coaching. It is skill positions, and most of all, it's been the offensive line. And this offensive line has blocked over the past 2 weeks better than it has all season. That's just a fact. You can go look up the numbers from somebody else and find them on PFF, and these guys have actually gotten the job done better over the past 2 weeks than they have. One is opponents. You could see in the second half, right out of the gate, that the Steelers went in and said, "Yeah, we're going to get a little bit more exotic. We're going to pick on the rookies, and we're going to run some stunts, and we're going to run some girls." And they were getting to Bailey in the second half,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, being up as much as they were, um, O'Brien went away from the keys that I cut for him that were turning in the front half, and went to a very conservative last 2 quarters of football, or I think they would have even scored more points last week. But they were looking at it in a way that we need this win. This team needs this win, so let's do this. But no, it's a collective. Leslie, that's a fantastic question. It really is. You reached up to the top shelf for this one, hon, and we appreciate it. But no, this is a collective. It is not just Bailey Zappe walking into that huddle, like Seth from North Dallas 40, telling everybody nobody talks in this huddle except me. All right, it's
Yeah.
completely it's a different thing. Bailey Zappe is a good young career backup quarterback. He's going to be the guy that's going to be able to come in here, but he's not the long term answer. I don't care what happens over these last few games.
Yeah, I think that it's important to make those points that complementary football is what's going to propel you forward no
Yep.
matter what. And Leslie, your question nailed that right on the head from the moment you asked it.
Really did.
And, I think Murph and I want to be careful. We're not taking anything away from Bailey Zappe. He's
No.
made improvements in making his reads, folks. You can see it on the field. His decision making has been a lot more sharp for a lot of the reasons that Murph had outlined. But you can set the table as well as anybody, but
Right.
it takes the person to be able to sit down and utilize the tools that are
Right.
set in order to make that table what it is. So hats off and a tip of the cap to Bailey
Yep.
Zappe for doing so and for helping this team move forward. But once again, when he was faced with a little bit more pressure, when Pittsburgh turned up the heat a little bit on Thursday night, then you started to see Zappe sputter a little bit.
Yep.
There were a handful of head scratching throws. We can talk about floaters and things like that all you want to. These were not the best throws by
No.
Bailey. He missed a few open targets, really, I think, throughout the game, even in the
Yep.
first half, as good as he was in the first half. In the second half, it was more pronounced because they brought
Right.
more pressure. And then, of course, we're talking about the interception, Michael Walker taking a Landon Roberts tip. And
They're
I
lucky
guess you
Landon
could,
Roberts tipped that ball because it was still
yeah,
PI.
yeah,
If not, it would have been PI. It really would have been.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
he
that's a
was,
good point.
Juju was getting hung all over there. And but no, folks, Bailey Zappe is a guy that was cut this year, cut,
Mm,
and nobody came to pick him up. He came back. He came to the practice squad. He came to his rooms, kept
mhm,
his head up, did his job, and waited until he got his turn. All right. A lot of people have been saying that the Patriots waited too long to make this switch. They really didn't. They were trying to give their first round pick time to get his feet under him, to figure out what had gone wrong and why things that happened in practice weren't translating. Because believe
mhm,
me, Bailey Zappe is a game day kind of guy. He's not showing out in practice or in the preseason and moving up that chart. There was no thought,
mm.
until things really came off the wheels for Mac to make this switch.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bill Belichick talked about that on Monday morning, saying they made the switch exactly when they feel it was
Yeah,
right for them to make it. And of course, you've got Zappe right now that's doing a great job of compartmentalizing his
yep,
mistakes and he's moving on from them in a timely fashion. And
right.
hopefully that will lead to big things on the field, especially with the Kansas City Chiefs coming to town this week. And that is a part of Leslie's question here. Do you believe that's the game changer for this week 15 matchup against the Chiefs? Is that going to matter? Are the Patriots going to come in here with a little more swagger and maybe kind of take it to a team that's reeling right now, that looked in a
Yep.
little bit of disarray, dare we say? on Sunday. Yeah, I get the argument, folks. It might have woken the sleeping giant, but when your
Right.
quarterback is pulling a temper tantrum on the sideline, it's not the greatest look in the world.
No.
The good teams rebound from that. We'll see if the Chiefs can do it. They have the talent to do it, but we'll
Yep.
see if that attitude translates on Sunday.
Yeah, I was hoping for a much better showing out of the Chiefs this past weekend. I was hoping to lull them into a false sense of security coming in here to face a 3-10 New England Patriots team. But the keys will be cut, and we'll see if they get followed.
Part of those keys being cut, stay on the correct side. That's going to be one of them, I'm sure. Well, maybe it won't be. I don't know. I don't want to speak from Murph here, but it would be one of my keys. That's for sure. Because we don't want a repeat of what we saw on Sunday. No question about it.
I wouldn't mind it.
You want to be able to look at Mahomes right now and go, "You can act like a man. What's the matter with you? Is this how you turn out a quarterback who cries with the referees?" Useless. But no, all kidding aside, folks. And look, we have our fun, and no one respects Patrick Mahomes more than myself and Murph. What this kid has done on a football field is tremendous. He is a surefire Hall of Famer.
It's just amazing what happens when things don't go swimmingly. Okay, yeah. When you're looking at possibly a wild card weekend, or never mind the fact that you're going to be playing away games this year. It's amazing. I'm sorry, folks. There's only one Tom Brady. You're starting to understand that. The rest of the world.
It is. It's a tough job. It is repeating and going back to back in the NFL is so difficult. And look, I mean, the Chiefs have a ton of talent. That is a tremendous football team, and they're well coached, and they've got great superstars, and they're led by the most electrifying and the best player in the league. But you're seeing right now how difficult it can be, and the frustration gets to everybody at times. So as much fun as we want to have, this is going to be a tough game for the Patriots coming up, and maybe Zappe's cool can help keep them in it. So Leslie, thank you. A tip of the cap and a nod to the gods for another phenomenal question. Thank you for being a valued everydayer and for all of your contributions as well. But Murph, we're not quite done yet, because there is still one more question to be drawn from the mailbag. And I know Patriots fans are looking forward to this one, folks. It involves the draft and the Patriots' plans once they get there. Murph and I are going to reveal our thoughts on another phenomenal question when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast wraps up right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, the only thing more important than cheering on your favorite team on game day is making sure that your game day table is well stocked. Why root for your team on an empty stomach? Order on DoorDash and save on all of your football watch party favorites. All of your favorite restaurants and stores, from retail to grocery, are on the app, so you can shop everything you need to get game day ready. Pats fans, nothing says game day like some wings, right? Well, now you can enjoy the hickory smoked wings in any of their 14 sauce flavors from Bites at Patriot Place. That's right. It's just like a piece of Gillette Stadium delivered right to your door just in time for kickoff with DoorDash. So act now, and you can get 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order. That's when you download the DoorDash app and enter the promo code LOCKED23. So don't delay, do it today. And don't forget to use the code LOCKED23, LOCKED23, for 50% off up to a $10 value on your first order when you download the DoorDash app and spend $15 or more. Subject to change, terms apply. Locked On listeners, thank you so much for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots, spending time with us here on Mailbag Monday/Tuesday. Because of some technical snafus, folks, we were one day late with the mailbag, but we hope that we've been able to deliver a good one for you. And thanks mostly in part to the insight, the wisdom, the counsel of Don here on Locked On Patriots, my good friend Thomas Murphy of E2G Sports, lending the wisdom and counsel the way only he can. Don Murph, we've been having some fun. The question, I think, on every Patriots fan's mind right now is, what are the Patriots going to do with the draft? Now, even with the win last week, the Patriots still currently hold the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. We've come into a lot of questions about whether the Patriots should go quarterback, whether they should go wide receiver. Murph, you've been very vocal that you believe that tackle is the pick, and you've already selected that gentleman, and the guy that you'd love to see in Patriot blue. I, for one, happen to agree with you. I think that's the building block. You want to build a foundation, folks. You need solid corners, solid edges, and that's about as solid as you can get. A 6'8" Joe Alt out of Notre Dame. But
Right.
there are also arguments to be made about the Patriots using that valuable
Sure.
draft capital and turning it into multiple picks.
Yep.
I know that's going to make a lot of our listeners moan and groan right now, but our good friends over at Patriots Daily want to know the same thing. And I love the name, folks. Gronk is the best tight end ever. Yeah, he absolutely is. It's not even close, in my opinion. And yeah, I say that. I know who's coming here this weekend. That's why I said it. The question at hand is, do the Patriots have to draft a quarterback or get one late and trade our top pick for a boatload of picks? I love the way they asked this question, Murph. Very Lone Star
Yeah.
from Spaceballs vibes.
Yeah.
We're not just doing this for picks. We're doing it for a boatload of
Boatload of
picks.
picks.
I love it. I really do. I like it an awful lot. If
No.
the board starts to be read in a certain way, do you have to consider making that move if you're the New England Patriots, or do you have to lock on a top 5 pick for a franchise quarterback at all costs?
Yeah, if you listen to most of the talking heads out there, yes, he does. If you're going to listen to me, no, they do not. If they end up with a top 2 pick, and hopefully Arizona can win a few more ball games, and they're looking for a quarterback, maybe you trade down with them. You do a flip at the top of the draft, end up with the 5th pick, and take my man Alt like you should do. I would be happy with him at 2. Um, but if you can pry away some or all of those the plethora of second round picks that they also have, you end up with 3, your own, maybe 2 of their 3 second round picks, and end up with, possibly 4 or even 5 top 60 picks in this draft. You're going to help yourself a lot. You can rebuild this offensive line. You can grab a quarterback, maybe even use those picks to trade back up into the first round and get that quarterback that everybody so desperately wants. The only problem is right now, the fury over all of these guys has them going in the top 10 again. And believe me, there's going to be 3 mistakes made in the top 10 this year.
Hmm.
Joe Walt is not one of those mistakes. None of the top 3 offensive tackles that are in this draft will be one of those mistakes. Those are guys that are going to be cornerstones for 5 to 10 years. Joe Walt is just that much better than everybody else. He's just that massive of an individual. Yes, he's out there and he looks like he's a grown ass man playing against Pop Warner kids because of his size and strength. But everything that Joe Walt does translates to the pro game quicker and better than everybody else in this draft at the position. And that's where I want to go. You can grab a wide receiver in 2. You can grab a wide receiver in this draft in 3. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I sit there every Saturday afternoon and watch every single college football. The only college football game that I've watched from kickoff to final whistle this year has been the Army Navy game, and we know who we're watching out there. The guys that are going to defend our country, not play at an all-pro level. Those guys are few and far between. Hi, Joe Cardona. How you doing? But other than that, there are so many ways that you can go with this. I'm looking to get as many draft picks within the top 50 as I possibly can with that pick. And I will, there are guys that are going to be on the market that can be a placeholder or even more this off season in free agency. Now, I'm not saying these guys are going to come in here and be that guy for the next 5 years, but I feel a lot better about some of them than I do, the kid out of USC or the rail thin kid out of LSU. You just don't know. You don't know how the kid from North Carolina is going to handle a college, a pro playbook. There are just too many questions. There's just too many
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah, there really are, folks. I mean, it really depends on who is valued and how they're valued in the Patriots draft room. And I think we can all agree on that. If the Patriots believe that Caleb Williams or Drake May or Jaden Daniels or a quarterback that's in this draft right now that they need to spend extremely high draft capital to
Yep.
bring in, then they're going to do whatever they need to do that. Now, the question is, will they be in position to do that?
Right.
And Murph, bringing it all full circle, it depends on who's in the draft room making these decisions.
Right.
Is it Bill Belichick and Matt
Is it
Groh
me?
still directing this? Is it Murph? Probably should be, folks. Who else could it be? You know, I mean, there are a number of different people that could be making these decisions that either are
That's
or
it.
aren't the current regime that's in New England right now. So a lot of it is going to come down to what the Patriots feel is in their best interest for the present and the future of their football team. Patriots Daily, an excellent question.
Yeah, great question,
It
guys.
really is going to depend a lot on a lot of different factors. But one thing I think we can all agree on is that if they haven't identified their quarterback of the future in this draft, then yeah, you have to maximize your capital any way
Right.
you can do it. And if that's getting a boatload of picks, then I don't think the Patriots can take that off the table. It's a possibility, and it could definitely happen. So
It is.
again, thank you for an amazing question, guys. Thank you for all of your support to Locked On Patriots. We truly appreciate it. And Murph, another stellar Locked On Patriots mailbag. And thank you so much for coming along for the ride today with it all.
Happy
Really
to be
always
here.
appreciate all of your wisdom, all of your counsel. Before I let you go today, bud, please let everyone know where they can find you, interact with you, and where we can expect some of the great work coming down the pipe from you, my friend.
Well, I got a new piece up over there at e2gsports.com on the Shohei Ohtani contract, if you want to call it that. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. It's $700 million, but he's only taken 2. What the hell? What the hell? There's going to be ramifications in the next collective bargaining agreement over all of this. And you of course you can find me on Zitter at TMurph207. Hopefully I'll be over there today doing a few things, and of course the monster keys will be cut, and you can read them on Friday at E2G Sports.
We always say, turn the keys, you go to the top. You don't turn the keys, you're never heard from again. I think we're going to be turning those keys later on this week here on Locked On Patriots, so stay tuned. Download, subscribe to, follow so you don't miss a second of the action. In the meantime, my friend, I thank you for all of the wisdom and counsel that you lend each and every day here on Locked On Patriots. A special tip of the cap today to Bill, to Leslie, and to Patriots Daily for your amazing questions. On behalf of my good friend, the Count of Murphy Fisto himself, I am Mike Debate, thanking you all for joining us today and reminding you to stay safe and to stay well and to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow on Locked On Patriots.